Now, time to start hunting for those missing crowns, and I have already stolen one from the old Iron King's crown, which is, well, it's in a sense quite boring DLC, but this one of the Sunken King, this is much more interesting, at least how I see these things. This place is much more visually, and well, this Sunken City is more than just a dull fire tower, although these old DLC areas have their bit of theme about environment, as in to say the Lost Iron King or Old Iron King crown had a theme of fiery place. This one has the place theme of poison, being a city which sank for I don't know what, some sort of poisonous mire. Well, any case, there's a place filled with all kinds of toxic things. Toxin spewing bug things, poisonous soldiers, although these are not filled with poison. And there's also the fact that many of these places are, well, this place is the most interesting place of all DLCs, mostly because this is meant to be not a ruin but a quite recently used city, and it has this gimmick of rising and falling platform things, which also make it possible for you to navigate. Of course, navigating them is necessary only if you want to get all the goodies of this place, otherwise you can just waltz right through them. And I'm gonna use a bit of a hybrid method of going through this place, which is to say I'm gonna mostly ignore the treasures, but I'm gonna go later or come later to pick them up. Of course, I paid a bit visit to his place earlier, and I saw that big dragon monster. That's a real dragon, not just a dragon-like monster, which are very more common in Dark Souls than real dragons. In the first Dark Souls there was Calamite, and some dragon-like monsters like that bridge-hating thing. In this one we'd already seen the white dragon and the ancient dragon and some guardian dragon, which was a bit more like that bridge monster of Dark Souls 1. But recommended method of going through this place is simple. Approach carefully, use arrows, kill things with arrows before you run into them and get too killed. And of course this kind of method uses the invulnerability given by backstab frames is also good, and that over here leads forward, that huge pyramid-like structure, and it's big one. But that structure actually, that pyramidal structure has some sort of, looks a bit like Maya architecture, that is to say, of those Central America people. Well, I'm going through this path first, just because there's some goodies in here, and this isn't so much of a detour, just a bit more dangerous path, which leads to the same place, doesn't lead to any other place. These DLC places are quite much very directly something that you just gonna go there, and that's place there is a bit of a secret path, even more than what's around here anyways. And I'm going there later. You need some sort of really powerful weapon to punch through that obstacles. And I do have it, but I'm not gonna use it just because I'm a vicious bastard. Actually, that's true. I am a bastard. Although I'd say that in modern life it ain't so much of a stamp or bias or however you want to call it. It ain't so big deal now in this life, this age of man, being an illegitimate child of some people. Well, better say being born out of wedlock is not so big deal nowadays. And I'd say that's a pretty good thing. Mostly because it didn't have much of point anyways. Well, going forward still. And this place... Well... Sunken City, Shulva... Well... I'm using lots of that word well. Well, is a place where you dig water, where you pull out water. Poison-filled hellhole. Fuck that. Let just let all that place be. I'm gonna come later to dig through them more thoroughly, and time to just go to the correct path to go off going forward. That's the only way of doing things going forward. And this narrow bridge, nothing unpredictable, mostly because there's no horrifying monster about to attack you on that narrow bridge. Lost coins, they are quite handy but mostly just unnecessary. Whoa! Bridge and the dragon, and it looks like it's wounded. It had a spear thrown to it. Yep. Not nice thing to get, but oh yeah. And if you would have been on that bridge once that dragon beast comes, it would have wrecked your ass real hard too. But now it doesn't. It actually opened the path for me, so I don't have to get busy fighting. And with this, I am opening a path to this pyramid. Dragon's Sanctum, which more or less is a temple of some kind. And these things you can hit and open doorways, and there's no peril of them falling down on you and crushing you or trapping you, but it's still very wise to be careful around them. And these corpse things are a certain kind of link between those armored dudes and their ghost forms. If you don't kill the body, these ghost dudes don't become physical, meaning you can't kill them if you don't destroy their bodies, and they're not always right next to them. So you want to be really careful around them and don't want to aggro those big dudes before you have some sort of idea where their bodies are. And they wield 2 poisoned falchions, and they're quite big dudes. And beefy. And lots of chests. Time to open them. Katarina helm. That's the funny onion helm. More destructive great arrows. That's a hint that hey, these might be of use in here. And of course, being a temple, this means it has also been a graveyard. Soul vessels, they're quite handy. They allow you to respect your stats. And generally speaking, there's some handy stuff. Titanite slabs, they are actually in Dark Souls 1 they were something that you really... They were practically impossible to get. Except those which were in a sense what hard-coded or something. To be found in whatever conditions you found them. This one and that thing spews poison. And I used the antidote herb, not because I'm so afraid of poison, just because I don't want to get endlessly amounts of damage. But as long as you keep lying on the ground, so I can just hammer you to oblivion. And enemy shooting dark magics at me. Luckily, like many other wizard enemies in Dark Souls, that one doesn't take so much damage. That wasn't my mimic, it was just trapped. But luckily I have arrows and that guy is stupid as left leg boot, so I can just pepper him full of arrows and just see him die. And time to use all those flow switch. And open it, and that flow switch moves that. Oh fuck! I'll be back here. And now I here again. Now it's time, so it's time to start spinning that weird doorway round path thing. Oh, but now the path is open. And these immensely high, yet still completely featureless corridors are, as an aesthetic sense, they are, I say this is unique. At least in Dark Souls 2 this is unique. Perhaps even the whole Dark Souls series. This very plain high walls and plain is and very narrow corridors is very unique style. I'm not saying that it's bad one, I actually like this kind of striking visual style. So time is, and of course these buttons open pathways. They're not always, in a sense, easily available places. And there's alright, I really don't know what triggers those spikes, except that corridor being like that really tells you that with big holes and corpses and everything else in them is quite a good indicator that that's not a friendly way to go, so oh yeah, it must have been one of those upper stairs which triggers the spikes. Well, anyways, got through the pit and dropped down. And fucking thing, die, ugly bug, spewing acid. And there's a whole collection of bugs there, so you really don't want to be and every acid spewing bug is bad because they break your equipment, and once they break your equipment you have to get it repaired, and that's gonna cost you souls. And some of the best equipment, which is to say every, and of course the meaning, well, I mean the best equipment being that which every sane player will use. It tends to be fragile, meaning it doesn't take well acid bathing. But these clusters of eggs don't by themselves are dangerous. They don't spawn any horrifying monstrosities for you to attack you, which is nice. But this kind of multi-leveled, very, or you could say quite complex structures, maze-like build, quite complex structures, makes this place quite cumbersome to navigate. And that door, it has to be is opened with a arrow button. So, but where it is? It wasn't there. Is it here? Well, there's one of those wizard things. Put some arrows to it and damn. This is actually quite puzzling, at least to my brain, which is quite stupid. at least often. Well, it ain't so stupid when it can work by itself, but now I have to play and commentate, even though that ain't much at the same time, and that makes me more dumb than I would usually be, even though that probably isn't saying much. Of course, the one you could say it's a good thing about those arrow things is that if it's not a something which spins those weird doorways around, it's something it cannot be pressed once, so you never get confused about what buttons have you pressed and what you have not pressed. Oh yeah, that's the place where I actually want to go. And this place also has this quite haunting music. Why it is, I don't know. Maybe they wanted to make it, well, you wanna make these places interesting, so the player can actually has a reason to wander through them, and especially if it's the quite much of a when they oh yeah, now I know that button opened up the spike pit, or better say activated the spike walls. No, here was no button, not in the floor, not in the walls. So I'm just still doing this pointless wandering until I actually manage to, or better say I have one path to go, but it feels excessively risky, and it's here. Well, gotta go. Oh yeah, that's the ghost form. They look like they are immaterial, and they are to you. They are not immaterial, meaning they can kill you very quick, but you can't kill them. Not before they have been made into physicals. Open that. Oh, but it's this way where you wanna go. My God. Oh shit, more. There's just so fucking many of those buggers. Well, luckily those things don't know how to walk. Ladders! Come on, get cover. And the fact that they don't know how to use ladders makes this bit easier. Oh yeah, of course, some of them are not armed with swords, they are armed with those weird rapid fire crossbow things. But luckily they're also quite stupid, as in they don't know what to do about a guy shooting at them. Especially if that guy happens to be oh yeah. Oh yes, have a bit easier way to get here. Just a bit, not much. Another mimic. But trapped. Luckily I had a shield. Lord's talismans, things which are not so useful, at least to in my books. And here is some sort of tomb of these dudes. I'm sorry, but I have a habit of desecrating your bodies to make your spirits physical and vulnerable. Yeah, I'm a nasty bastard. Not only do I loot the graves, I also desecrate them. Robbing the dead and also causing damage to them. Yeah, not just grave robbing, desecrating as well. And now you are physical. And as you are now physical, that means I can kill you up here with impunity, and you can't do anything except shoot with that. But well, actually, it's not so puny, but shoot with that weapon gun of yours, which doesn't work so well. Come on, dude, start walking around again and mangling yourself to these floor spikes. And they don't care so much about fireballs and at their face. Meaning they have to be killed the old-fashioned way. That means use every dirty trick in your book. Well, they got numerical superiority, and they're generally more dangerous than you are. You might be a bit smarter than they are, but smarts don't mean much when you deal with something which is about as horrifyingly dangerous and vicious as these dudes are. Oh, you die too. I don't like any of you being alive and around here, being perilous to me. Good, now your history, all of you. Good, now I think that I can do some exploring, or not necessarily exploring, but examination of this place. I already found a key in there, and there's a button. Oh, that one opened. And it's another mimic. Is it trapped? Oh no. Well, time to get up. Oh, And more of that haunting song. And got slightly ambushed by that thing. And there's one of those button things. And with that I opened the pathway to there, and I can jump over here, and there's a bonfire, and another one of those Sanctum crossbows, and it's actually time to take a bit of rest in here and do some looting and come back here. Well, looting this place I broke some of those glowy red eye statues. There was this twist thing to open this, so it's time to go forward to this tunnel. What the hell is that? It looks some sort of tree, but it's, I don't know, I can't talk to it. Can I hit it? It's some sort of tree with eyes. And I can't hit, and it can't be killed. It's just some gruesome detail they made to this place. And if that was somebody who was sentient, he had a bad thing happening to him. Looting has been done, so time to continue. In this strangely maze-like, actually not so strangely, it's a bloody huge pyramidical temple, being some sort of dragon worshipping place. If it were not maze-like and dangerous, it would be a bit wrong, especially knowing that this place isn't probably in active service at all. Who knows how impossible to even say when it was in active service, if it has ever even been in active service. Fog wall, dark spirit ahead. Well, I want to get prepared with the poison claws. Dark Spirit Chester Thomas. That guy killed Mitha by himself. Now he has killed me. And he's gonna... and he takes fireballs like nobody's business. And being a Dark Spirit, he can spew them until he gets bored. And he doesn't get bored until you die. And he's got lots of... But lucky for me, he's computer controlled, meaning he has a benefit of being... he's got the benefits of immense load of firepower, literally, but he's got a difficulty of being quite stupid. And he's now got himself some poison. Yeah, you fighting against the guy who kills a big, well, not so much, but capable of killing a boss all by himself without breaking a sweat. You don't wanna... But thanks to and he knows a shitload of spells. Basic fireball, firestorms, warmth, really big nasty fireball, combustions of the bigger kind. Well, luckily warmth can heal also me. I don't remember what that spell did. Was it some sort of... God damn it. Oh, great chaos fireball. And get the fuck out of that warmth of yours. Yeah, I can keep this up all day. Missed because you're stupid. Oh, flame swath. Well, even if fight fire with fire. One of the best pyromancers. Well, he was a nasty case of pyromancer, but he's history. Well, time to go through this mist, which doesn't lead to a boss, leads just to a quite inhospitable looking place. Filled with that kind of ugly things, and I don't actually... Fighting against those things, well, it ain't so difficult knowing that they are quite simplistic in behavior, but it's a chore. They take a lot of effort to kill. Quite lots of it actually. So I don't even bother starting to fight against them, I just leave them. And here's something. Examine and use the dragon stone. And that big mechanism goes down. And watch how they open a bridge. Yep, that's quite impressive piece of end of the world proofing. Knowing that water wouldn't make mechanisms work any better, actually they would make it just worse. And Rakeblood Greatsword, just another weapon. Big swords. There are quite lots of them, and they usually are not so immensely useful. Time to use the opened liftway. And it takes a big time because this was quite a low place. And this seems to be some sort of main entry to the unpleasant place of horrors. So let's just try to use this elevator and see where this leads. Oh yeah, look at that. I am right at the starting of the whole Shulva, the Sunken City or Sunken City. Or whatever. Handy. Way to get forward again. More big loops. Well, time to go be in this place as I got this weird ashen heart from the dragon. So now it's time to go and check what kind of dreams does this wooden giant thing have. Is it dead and becomes wood or something weird? Usually dead thing means it becomes petrified if there would be something like really mineral having environment, but those have become wood. But I'm going to call Captain Drummond and get into the fray. And there's giants and they're bombarding with fire stuff. Oh shit, a big walk! There's a big one. I'm going to burn that giant to the hell. And here, there's some sort of big looking giant guy. Hey, come on Captain, I'm giving you fire support. Yep, this is the actually, I think one of the best ways, perhaps the way to best kill the big giant lord. Yeah, he's tall, he looks a bit lankier than the other giants. And he's got a big crown in his head and a sword, not just punching things with fists or big sticks like the soldiers. But he's still not wearing any... Oh, he does wear some sort of skirt. But this is actually one of the best ways to defeat a big giant. Just be quite far and poison him. Use poison and just so much arrows that he doesn't even know what hit him. Although maybe I shouldn't have summoned Drummond. But he seems to be surviving quite well against him. You know, it's all a matter of time. Come on, giant, die. Don't make me come over there. But catapults bombard me, fire, which doesn't cause much. Poison and regular arrows or whatever arrows you use, lightning arrows seem to do the best damage. To perhaps the best combination. Come on, I don't have endless amounts of time to fight against him. But I wonder, is this a past or am I just seeing something? I feel this might be some sort of time travel thing. Oh yes. Giant Lord has gotten, and now I have the giant skinship, which makes me possible to now command the giants within Throne of Want and get to the throne itself. And as such I can become a king. But before becoming a king I must get some crowns and all that kind of stuff. And which means this was just opening the path to the end game. Now, within Shrine of Omaa, there was this weird ass corridor to deep water, and it wasn't so good. Well, efficiently hidden. But there's this small crypt. So it's time to open it. And it can only be opened after King Vendrick has been finally released from his mindless existence, which means you must kill him. So time to... There's a very small seat, and King's soul had appeared to it, so it must be this is the actual final... Well, this must have been the King's last throne or something, or place he found very important, but there was his soul. Meaning that thing which was in a tomb crypt was soulless husk. And here are his equipment, including his crown. And now there is 2 crowns I have gathered. King's own and the crown of the old Iron King, so now there's only 2 kings left. Or is there 2 crowns to be gathered from kings?